The Houston Rockets. Now, Houston has become one of the biggest stories approaching this offseason after following another disappointing postseason loss to the Los Angeles Lakers. They're getting a new coach, another early playoff exit, no real roster certainty following the next season, and another very questionable Westbrook playoff performance in the second round. There are many questions surrounding this team. Now, some people say that they might just need a coaching change. Some people think that they might just need to add one more piece like James Harden said. But there's also most people that say they need a complete roster turnover. And considering they go that route, Westbrook staying on the team is almost at a 0%. So today, we're going to look at 3 possible trade destinations for Westbrook going into this offseason. So the first team we're going to look at is the Orlando Magic. Now, Orlando's following another below 500 season, and they've been stuck in mediocrity for quite some time now. And many feel they're overdue for a roster turnover, and they're possibly in the market to make a big splash in free agency. Now, Orlando has never been a really attractive free agent destination, so it's hard for them to sign superstars. So they're forced to look at situations like Houston and grab one of their superstars after a disappointing postseason. Now, with Westbrook's contract, it makes any real trade difficult, so we got to keep that into consideration when thinking of these trades. Also, Westbrook's trade value is presumably lowest it's ever been because, it's been a rough few years for Westbrook. But with that being said, the Magic do have a few interesting pieces that the Rockets may be interested in. Assuming the Magic would want to keep Vucevic, they could offer packages centered around players like Aaron Gordon and Evan Fournier, who both have contracts that are around $15 million. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they have contracts that would work together in order to trade for Westbrook. With Fournier being a 40% three-point shooter and Gordon being an undersized athletic big who has shown flashes of being able to stretch the floor, those are both pieces that would fit well with this Rockets team and would really fit in the scheme of what they want to do. Now, before I continue this, I will say that I'm going under the assumption that the Rockets are going to keep the same play style they've been using, regardless of the D'Antoni coaching change. So when I'm thinking of pieces that the Rockets would want in order to exchange for Westbrook, I am taking that into consideration. Now, with a combination of Fournier and Gordon, as well as maybe a pick or two, this would be a trade that can make sense for both sides. Now, on to the second possible destination for Westbrook, the Indiana Pacers. Now, the Pacers are another team that are in a very interesting situation. After being swept by the Heat and Oladipo still looking shaky following his injuries, they could be another team looking to shake things up a bit in free agency. Now, with that being said, the Pacers may look to give Oladipo another year to fully recover before making such a big move like this. But if not, and they feel they got to make a splash now instead of later, Westbrook may be a player they look at. Now, the Pacers have money tied to a couple interesting places on their roster with players like Oladipo, Turner, TJ Warren, and Jeremy Lamb being potential trade pieces in this situation. Now, the Pacers may be looking to trade Oladipo in exchange for Westbrook in order to pair Westbrook with an efficient scorer in Brogdon, who had a good season with the Pacers last year. Pacers could also go in a direction and throw in Jeremy Lamb as well as Miles Turner in order to make the contract salary situation work and also make the trade look a little bit better for the Houston Rockets part. Now, Oladipo and Turner may seem like giving up a lot for Westbrook, but the Pacers may be looking to make a big splash, and Westbrook would give another go-to scoring option on offense to relieve Brogdon of some of his duties. And if they truly are looking to move past Oladipo, this would make a lot of sense to go after Westbrook. The Rockets would be getting a solid second option to Oladipo as he continues to recover from his injuries, as well as a big that can stretch the floor in Miles Turner, and a really good rim protector at that. They also may look to add a piece such as Jeremy Lamb, who's also a solid three-point shooter, and they may be losing a little value if they chose to go that route instead of Miles Turner. But again, Westbrook doesn't have the highest value, so it's honestly goes in Indiana Pacers' favor however much they value Westbrook and however much Houston thinks they can get from any other team. We have to look at all that when looking at trades because we don't truly know how good Westbrook's trade value is to a lot of teams. So we got to keep that in the back of our minds when making these trades. Another thing to note when looking at these Westbrook trades, we have to look at desperate teams looking to shake things up, and Pacers may fit that description this offseason. Because if we're being honest with ourselves, Westbrook is not nearly as sought after as he has been earlier in his career. After a few questionable postseason performances, his trade value has gone down significantly. Throw in a pick or two from each side, depending on the trade value, how the talks go. Indiana may have a chance of landing Westbrook going into next season. Now, last but not least, The third team we're going to look at in this video is the Phoenix Suns. Like I've said before, and much like the other two teams, the Suns are in an interesting position. The Suns are currently within one of the longer playoff droughts in the league, and they're yet another team that may in the market to make a possible big splash this free agency and shake things up. Now, after a very impressive bubble run, it may be questionable if they want to, shake things up now, but on the flip side of that, that might be exactly why they want to make a big splash. They may have seen the flash of greatness in the bubble and think they're maybe 1 or 2 pieces away from making a potential playoff run next season. So with that being said, Westbrook would be one target that they might want to look at. Because like Orlando, Phoenix is not a prime destination for free agents, so making trades is one of the best ways to get stars there. Now, the Suns are a young team with quite a few talented pieces on their roster, and a lot of players that the Rockets would be interested in. Now, they could center a package around Ricky Rubio and Kelly Oubre, with Ricky being another playmaker that can add to the mix, and Kelly Oubre being a willing defender, and both players greatly improving their shots in the last few years, both shooting above 35% from 3. And y'all know Rockets love their 3-point shooters. Now, one thing to remember is during the bubble in the Suns' undefeated run, Oubre didn't join the team. So it isn't crazy to think that Oubre is unavailable in trade talks when they see how successful they can be without him. Now, with a successful Westbrook trade, Phoenix would finally have another star to put alongside Devin Booker and bring some legitimate hope to this organization. Bringing Westbrook in would definitely relieve some of the offensive pressure that Devin Booker has had to carry basically his entire career with the Phoenix Suns. Now, with Westbrook being in the mix, Phoenix could run lineups such as Westbrook, Devin Booker, Cam Johnson, Bridges, and DeAndre Ayton. With this young team bound to have some players that have serious jumps next season, this could turn into a very interesting young team to watch in the Western Conference. Now, with that being said, Westbrook is aging and doesn't have time to wait around for young players to fully develop. But again, this team has shown flashes of hope, and Westbrook could be a piece to push them into the playoffs next season, if the Suns do go that route. Now, it's obvious that the Rockets system was a questionable fit at best for Westbrook, hence why they traded Clint Capella to have further floor spacing. A change of scenery for the star point guard would be arguably the best thing to happen for him at this point in time. Now, not only would it benefit Westbrook, it may also benefit the Rockets, depending on which direction they go and what pieces they get back if they were to trade Westbrook. Whether the Rockets decide to go that route or not, these are 3 teams that are worth giving a call if Westbrook does find himself on the market. Trade Westbrook or not, one thing is certain, and that is the Rockets are going to make some serious changes going into next season. We're just gonna have to wait and see what that is. But that's gonna do it for this video, y'all. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts on the video. Let me know if you liked it, if you didn't like it, what you agree with, what you don't agree with. I appreciate you for staying all the way to the end. If you did, thanks for watching. And that's Quincy ID, and I'm out.